Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Empower LEP podcast. I'm your host, Jana Parker, licensed educational psychologist, group practice owner, and mentor at Empower LEP. Today, I had the pleasure of hosting Dr. Rebecca Branstetter. She is a school psychologist, an international speaker, and an author who is on a mission to help children thrive by supporting school psychologists, educators, and families. She is the founder of the Thriving Students Collective, which provides professional development, engaging online courses, and a supportive online community that prioritizes whole school wellness and equips educators and parents with practical tools to empower every learner's success. Rebecca and I talk about her journey from school psychologist to an entrepreneur who always knew that she wanted to have a bigger impact, and now she most certainly is. It was an honor to host her, and as always, I hope you enjoy this conversation as much as I did. Welcome, Dr. Rebecca Branstetter, to the Empower LEP podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'm really excited to have you on today. I know you have a lot going on, so I appreciate you taking the time to talk to our community.
Yes, I feel I need Taylor Swift's shirt. A lot going on at the moment.
I was going to ask you
all the things.
All the things, yeah. And I was going to ask you, do you have a dance background?
I do. Here's a fun fact that listeners will be maybe a new fact. A lot of folks know me from my blog, in the early days, my book, The School Psychologist Survival Guide, and ones of people know that I was on a professional hip hop dancing troupe called Culture Shock Oakland, and I was on MTV briefly, and I'm glad there's no footage.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool.
But it's parlayed into like embarrassing TikToks. My daughter, who's in middle school, has reviewed my TikTok as cringe, but good dancing. So I think that's a high compliment from, a 13-year-old.
Absolutely. Yeah. As a previous, dancer myself, I could like see that in you. I was like, you know what? Like she's being goofy, but there's something here.
All right. Well, I look forward to our duet with whatever the next TikTok dance is.
Oh, God. All right. Maybe. This episode is brought to you by Empower LEP, the #1 resource for aspiring and practicing LEPs with courses, trainings, and mentorship opportunities. The mentorship program is amazing. We have monthly live mentoring calls with me, Jana Parker, or with Meredith Gleason. We give a mini lesson. We have people vote on what they want to talk about. So we give that mini lesson. Then we open it up for group questions and discussions. We have this amazing community of like-minded LEPs. We're at all levels of practice. We come together, ask questions, learn from each other, all the things. So the mentorship is really perfect if you are struggling to navigate running a practice, if you feel isolated, if you're seeking professional support and community, if you just want to enhance your clinical and your report writing skills, maybe you feel stuck, maybe you feel like you're not sure of your next steps, maybe you want some accountability, all the things. Meredith and I, we have done it. We are doing it. We are living this LEP life day in and day out. So sign up for a month or get a discount for signing up for 3 months, whatever you want, whatever works for you. Go to empowerlep.com/mentorship-program for more information. Okay, so I really want to hear, you are obviously doing amazing things right now in your career, and I really want to hear where you started in your school psychology journey.
Oh, all right. So humble beginnings. I started out as a school psychologist in San Francisco Bay Area. And when I graduated from Berkeley with my PhD, I was like super excited to change the entire world single-handedly. I had a little bit of a hero complex, I guess, but I went out there and I was just working so hard. I was like, I had a caseload of, several thousand students, and it was a lot. It was a lot. So I thought the solution was to like work stronger, longer, faster, harder, better Excel spreadsheet. And I worked for many, many years like that in survival mode. I switched districts. I thought I was better on the other side of the bay. It was just different. I had less on my caseload, but the needs were bigger. I jumped to another district, and it was a very highfalutin district. And there's a different set of challenges around the types of advocates and lawyers and reports that I was being expected to write. So wherever I went, there I was with a different flavor of challenge. And so my journey kind of starts there with that experience. And it all kind of culminated in one sort of very traumatic day that I will share with you if people haven't heard this story. I was pregnant with my daughter, so we know it was 13 years ago. And I was working so hard to be a very good worker and finish all my reports in time.
Right.
And I went to the district office to finish my reports, and then there was a gunman on campus, locked down under my desk, holding my pregnant belly, being like, "What am I doing?" Like, it was one thing to like be a school psychologist and have all that stress when it was just me, but it hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, this isn't just about me anymore. Like, I know the research on cortisol. This cannot be good for my
Right.
baby. And what am I doing it for? For report writing? Like, I'm risking my life to write up the bask? What the heck am I doing? Drive home crying. Everyone was okay, thankfully. And it wasn't the first time I'd been in a lockdown over my career, like tons of lockdowns, very sad. The state of, our country and our world, but here we are. And I was like, my husband, I gotta quit. I don't know. I love my students. I hate my life. It's not, I can't do it anymore. And there's a very weird thing that the universe does sometimes at these moments, which is sending you like a little whisper in your ear. And what happened was Josie Bass Publishers had read my blog. Were you an early blog reader or are you a late comer?
Well, a later comer, yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't know. You're right here in the Bay Area, and I didn't know.
Started that in 2007, just writing into the universe, being like, "Does anyone else notice how crazy this
Yeah.
is?" And trying to like make sense of it all. They'd read my blog and they're like, "Do you want to write the school psychologist survival guide?" And I'm like, "Well, that's pretty ironic because I would really like to know how to survive." And so I dug into like what's now become like decades long me search research project,
Yeah.
which is how can we survive? But not only that, how can we thrive? How can we be the school psychologist we know NASP wants us to be, full service? How can we do it without burning out? And that really began my journey into the work I'm doing now.
Yeah. I love that. Okay, so take us through like so in that moment, like did that happen literally on the same day or like right around the same time? That
It
the
was 2
pregnant
days
day
later, they called me.
was okay.
Yeah,
And so you had your daughter, and did you go back to school?
I did. I did
Okay.
go back to school. And then I got pregnant with my other daughter. And at that point, it was part-time and I was LEPing. Is that a verb?
Yeah. Yeah. We use it like that. Yeah.
They were LEPing because I thought that there were greener pastures in private practice. Again, just different set of challenges.
Right.
I wasn't under the time clock as much because and I was very good about selecting clients who just were curious about how their kids learn best, what's getting in the way, what do we do about it? And a very lovely demographic of parent who didn't have like time crunch or agenda. And I liked that, but I was kind of lonely.
Yeah. Yep.
You could be lonely.
Yep.
And so then I said, well, maybe I'll be a supervisor. I was on an odyssey, right? I'll be a supervisor. So as a supervisor, in Oakland School District,
Yeah.
and I loved it. I was working with 3 different school psychologists. One was a brand newbie and had all of those worries that go along with being a newbie, natural worries. One was a mid-career, was like, I figured this out, but is this all there is? Am I really just test IEP repeat? Like, how do I do more? And then I had someone who was like a later career school psychologist who was like, kind of feel like I'm doing time until retirement. Like, how can I get my mojo back?
Yeah.
And I found myself in this role where I felt like I was really helping them. And I really loved it.
Yeah.
And I was using my research, my me search, um and everything I had to really help them. And I was like, I kind of want to do more of this. How do I do this? And so I didn't know. I really didn't. I just got curious about it. So if you're out there listening, like, I do something different, but I don't know what it is, just like put that out there in the
Right.
world and say it out loud and talk to your friends about it. and you never know what can happen. So what happened was I was like, I think I like teaching. And so I was like, maybe I'll be a professor. I can wear those cool like tweed outfits with the patches on the elbows. Like that'd be kind of fun. It's a little hot here, but I think it'd be really good. And that didn't really pan out. And I was like, well, how can I teach people but not in a university? And this was like before the heyday of everyone has a podcast, everyone has an online course, and everyone's an expert and everyone has a following.
Yeah.
I had a following on Facebook, sort of an accidental following from my blog of about 10,000 school psychologists. And so I was talking to my friend and I was like, I want to teach, but I don't know how. Well, something came across her Facebook feed that was like, do you want to teach online? Um, you know, how would you like to be like an expert and be a part of like the expert economy? And she's like, I don't know what this is, but check it out. I checked it out and I ended up taking an online course on how to do online courses.
Huh. Okay.
Snake eats its own tail.
Yeah.
And I had this beautiful mentor called Janine Blackwell, who sadly has passed, but her legacy lives on in me because she taught me how to reach and scale my special sauce that I think I have to more people than those three people, those three school psychs in the rooms who are struggling.
Yeah.
That's when the Thriving School Psychologist was born in 2017. And honestly, it was an experiment. I had no idea. I put it out there. And I just kind of talked to my Facebook group, like, who's with me? Who wants to be more than a testing machine? Should we do this together? And I had 100 school psychs sign up in 2 weeks.
Wow.
And it's like, I
Yeah.
think this thing.
Yeah. So
And I've grown.
yeah. So I just interviewed Dr. Byron McClure, who you are friends with and colleagues, and he said the same thing. He said, I listened to the people and gave them what they wanted. And you both are on the burnout train, like both of your what you are offering are to help school psychologists fight burnout.
Yeah. And then sort of accidentally, the mission expanded exponentially during COVID.
Mm.
So I have my school psychologist. Now I'm so proud. I think we're on cohort number 16 or 17 of the Thriving School Psychologist. We've had thousands of people go through it and stay in as alumni. And so I have this group of awesome people, Thriving School Psychologists, this amazing network of expertise that I can just send out the Thriving School Psych bat signal and get information back. And so when the pandemic hit, we were already Zooming before it was cool. Okay.
Yeah.
When I first advertised Thriving School Psychologist, I had to put like what Zoom was in parentheses. I was like, it's video chats. Like, no. So the pandemic hits and a company reaches out to me, is like, can you do a crash course online, parenting in a pandemic? And I was like, when? They're like, next week in LA. And I was like, I got nothing else to do and I want to get out of the house. Let's do this. I brought my kids, the puppy, like, like everyone, the pandemic puppy, figure out a place for that guy. And I go down and I do a course on how to help parents. And then the pandemic, all the kids start going back, and who needs the support now? Teachers.
Yep.
How do I deal with this? And so I create a course for teachers on burnout, on executive functioning, on coping skills for stressed out kids. And it just sort of evolved from a super niche of school psychologists, we're small but mighty group, to special educators, to parents, to general educators. I firmly believe every teacher is a special ed teacher, whether they have a credential or not.
Right.
Every teacher has to be a first line mental health responder now. That is stressful. So can I give them the tools in a community of practice so that they could not burn out, but also help neurodiverse kids and kids with mental health challenges? Because there's nothing more stressful than not being able to reach and teach your kids who are suffering.
Right. Right. And so can I ask you a couple logistical questions about how you got all this started? Because it sounds like you took a course in how to do an online class, but then how did you like build the infrastructure for what it became? Like, how did that, you don't have to go into all the details, but like how logistically, how did that work as like a school psychologist being like, oh, now I'm going to have an online platform? What did you have to do, or who did you have to ask, or who helped you, or
Yeah, my business mentor, Janine Blackwell, really gets all the credit. She's like, here's some online platforms, they're plug and play. Here's what an email system looks like. Here's how you get people to give you their emails and you give them pretty cool stuff and build your community. She really walked through every step of the process. But honestly, like at a certain point, it was probably around about 3 years ago, I started to feel uncomfortable that school psychologists were paying out of pocket for this resource.
yeah,
And I was glad to provide it. And for people who wanted to buy it, I was happy to be there for them and give them what they needed when they needed it. But I was like, why aren't school districts paying for this? Like, why why are teachers putting themselves on a payment plan to get the support they need to do their jobs?
yeah,
That it should be both and. People can purchase it if they want to, but it should be like baked in the DNA of our school. Like, why do we not have burnout prevention baked into our professional development?
right,
Why don't we have non-siloed PD? Why are we sitting in a tiny cafeteria chair in a one and done professional development on something that you can get maybe one practical thing out of in 6 hours? Why are school psychologists lumped together with all of this PD that's not useful? I think that was so powerful about my course, is that they're like, oh, this is actually related to my freaking job
right, right,
versus some abstract thing like, oh, how to write reports in less time. That's my job. I need to do that. How to expand my MTSS team from MTS mess to MTS success. How do I do that? How do I deal with difficult relationships?
yeah,
In these very high pressure situations? How do I, move beyond self-care Sunday strategies? There's no bubble bath that's relaxing enough to handle 3,000 kids on your caseload. Like, it's not a personal self-care fail. How do we address the systemic things?
mm-hmm.
At that point, logistically, I knew that, like, being a businesswoman of one, like, I could get pretty far, like, figured out the tech, found good mentors, experimented and iterated. But I was like, I need someone who knows, like, businessy things about schools. And so that's when I found my co-founder of Thriving Students, which is the expanded version of Thriving School Psychologist, Sarah Hauser. And she has really been very successful in turning this into what's called a B2B business.
Mm-hmm.
Right? B2C is business to consumer, for those of you who are interested, which I was doing. I didn't know that was called that. And she's like, we need to have this be B2B. And I was like, okay, let's do this. And so then we started approaching districts, and she really brought the expertise in that domain. So I knew what I could do and I knew how far I could scale on my own, and I was happy there. But then I was like, I have a bigger mission.
Yeah.
I have more I want to do, and I want to reach more people, not just people who have happened to fallen upon my Facebook page. I want it baked into every special education department, every professional learning community. And that's when we launched our online platform. We had these sort of courses here, there, and everywhere, but then we merged it all just this summer into this beautiful platform that, is so technologically sexy. I can't handle it. Because professional development should not be one and done on a random Tuesday in November.
Yep.
That's not how adults learn. You want to learn by, like, going to a platform and, like, how do I help this kid with, autism? And it provides you a short video on that and a downloadable tool, and you're off to the races.
Yeah.
You're not going to go look in your file from like a PD 3 years ago and pull out something on autism and be like, well, what did I learn? It's got to be in the flow of work. The business world does this. They have learning in the flow of work. They have platforms. Why don't we have that?
Mm-hmm.
So that's really the evolution of the business. But I guess my commercial is for finding people who are smarter at you at things and operating in your zone of genius.
Yeah.
I could have tried to figure out how to sell to districts, but, like, why?
Right.
I don't know how to do that, but I do know how to build cool courses and cool tools and AI enhanced report writers and collaborate. So find your zone of genius. What is like your special sauce that you do really well? And then find someone who perhaps has a different special sauce that complements you.
Yeah.
You know, Byron and I have been partnering for years because a mutual friend, Angela Watson, introduced us and was like, "You guys seem like you might be doing cool stuff." And then we're like, "Let's do cool stuff together."
Yeah. Yeah.
So find like-minded people with similar missions who have a complementary skill set to you in the business world. And I honestly think for those of you out here, like, I don't know if I can start a business. That's all businessy things. I'm a school psychologist. Look, that's what CPAs are for.
Hmm.
That's what lawyers are for. That is what salespeople are for. Like, there are people out there. You don't have to do it all on your own as a solopreneur,
Right.
or you can start there and then expand, or you can just be happy being a solopreneur. Just do your thing.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot. We talk a lot on this podcast about the power of your network and how just being in front of different people and sharing your mission and talking about what you're doing just makes what you're doing more accessible to other people. And then their connections are made, people find each other. It's
Absolutely. Say your mission out loud as to many people. Even if you don't know the how, tell them the what.
Yeah.
I told my friend Elizabeth, and however many years ago, like, I want to teach people like at a big scale, but I don't know how.
Yeah.
I didn't expect her to know the answer, but then suddenly her brain was primed to look for that. She
Right.
found it and sent it to me. Same for you, same for other people. If you're like, I have, a mission to help, some big dream to help every student with autism understand how they learn best. And even if you say it at a cocktail party, they might know someone who's doing something cool in the space. Say it out loud.
Exactly. Exactly. So tell me what this platform, how many schools are you in? What does this platform do? You mentioned it a little bit, but for those of us in our audience who don't know, tell us a little bit about the platform.
Yeah, so we have the users in 1,500 school districts. So that's incredible reach, and I'm so excited about that. And then we have a number of large school districts, large, small, rural, all over the country, who have opted to buy the platform, not just for their school psychologists, which has the school psych course, but for their special educators, for their social workers, for their counselors, for their general education teachers, their special education teachers, really full wraparound service. So all the adults have information about how to help kids who learn differently. Gone are the days where only the school psychologist can know how to help kids with mental health.
Yeah.
Gone are the days when only a special educator can be the one who knows how to help a kid with ADHD, autism, or a learning difference.
Mhm.
We have to upskill everyone. So it's an upskilling platform, and it has our three components. And it's role agnostic in the components, but the components are, there's called Thriving You, just like Thriving University, and it's tools for you, your practice, burnout prevention, and we're talking micro habits here, too small to fail things you can do in the day when the stress is actually happening, not just after work propositions. That's self-care. I love it. It's great, but on the job strategies, what's creating the stress? How can we look upstream instead of just self-caring a lot downstream after the stress happens?
Yeah.
The second group is for called Thriving Students, and it's really master classes, short form content, some involves dancing, that upskills everyone on how to support neurodiverse kids, kids with mental health challenges. Short, what's called 5 to Thrive videos. Master classes on how to teach executive functioning with grade banded curriculum. All those tools that you as school psychologists out there are going down a Google rabbit hole trying to find and wasting your time being like, there's cobble from here and cobble from there, and is that research based or not? It's like an all-in-one sort of Netflix of thriving, and you get to choose whatever you want to binge watch. The third thing is it's done in a community of practice. So that's through a private forum. It's through monthly and quarterly Zoom calls where we meet together. We just had one in our Thriving School Site community. It was a neurodiversity pep rally. Ways that you can start the school year, build neurodiversity affirming practices into your day. And teachers came to understand what neurodiversity is. We had one on 5 time hacks and AI hacks to keep work at work. Very well attended.
I'm sure. Yeah.
We have hundreds and hundreds of school psychologists who hop into these and give each other their great ideas. Well, here's what I did. And so it becomes not just like content, but content in community of practice. So that's what our platform really is. It's at the ready, done for you, ready to learn, master classes, little micro courses, and a community of practice. And I'm thrilled that it's getting into the hands of, people in school districts all over the country, because the time has never been more vital to support our adults in the building. Teachers are leaving in droves. I don't know if you noticed.
I do. Yep.
School psychologists are burning out and quitting.
Mm-hmm.
People have gone to all this time, all their career goals, only to become disheartened. And I honestly don't think we have a burnout problem. I think we're setting our educators, school psychologists, and teachers up to fail by not giving them the resources they need to do their jobs.
Yep.
So that's the big mission.
I love that. Oh my gosh. I have like so many questions, but I don't want to take up all your time. I'm like, I could talk to you all day about this. So what does your day-to-day right now look like? As you have this whole thing going, like what is your role in all of this?
So an entrepreneur's life is very spicy, very varied. And I honestly worked backwards, and I recommend anyone out there doing this. And I do this with my Thriving School Psychologist in our very first module. I got out my calendar a number of years ago, probably 2016, and I wrote down what I want to be doing all day. I didn't know how I was going to get there. And I was like, suspend reality, Rebecca, in an ideal world. Okay. So I didn't know how to achieve this, but I was like, in the morning, I want to walk my kids or bike my kids to school, have a cup of coffee, meditate, pet my dog, leisurely start my day at 8:30. I want to be creating stuff. I want to be networking. I want to be talking to cool people. And then I want to be done at 3. And I want to be able to like hang out with my kids and mentally be with my kids.
Yeah.
And mentally leave it all behind. So that's what was in my dream journal. The reality is it sort of looks like that. This morning, got up, I went, had my coffee, did my meditation, I ran my 2 doggies, came home, helped my kids get to school, had a flat tire because life is funny. I called the flat tire people to come fix it. And I started creating. This morning, I started creating a 5 to Thrive series, 5 to Thrive, 5 ways to support autistic students. And it's for gen ed teachers because they got those kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I started making my little PowerPoints, and I started, making some downloads, and I'm going to record when we get off of this because I wanted to create that. My community needed it. And then I had lunch, and now I'm on a podcast with you. So like, there's a lot of freedom.
Yeah. In
entrepreneurship. That's not to say it's like this every day. There's a lot of hustle. Yeah. Now that I have a team who's like chasing down district POs and stuff that like, I have a financy person who does the financy things. Great. So if you can build a team around you, you can kind of decide what your day is like.
Right.
But pretty much every day I try to go for what is called in the research, I've anointed it, the Thrive ratio. So the research shows that if you spend 20% of your day doing something you love and you're using your strengths, you're less likely to burn out. So every day I dedicate 90 minutes to creating or connecting. Yeah. Doesn't matter when. And if I'm doing that, then it makes the other like businessy things that I don't like to do completely worth it, because it gives me energy to do those things. Mm-hmm. So find what you love and just carve out that time. It's sacred time. If I end up getting up my laptop and I'm just in emails all day long, that is like an energy vampire situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I start with like 90 minutes of something engaging, fun, that I love, then it gives me energy to tackle that inbox later. So that's my day-to-day life. And I do a lot of travel, honestly, now. Um, and like it's so funny because I actually don't really love traveling, but like there's so many opportunities to travel and meet cool people that I've become accustomed to it. Um, I'm getting a lot of miles, racking them up.
That's great. Then you can go on a trip with your family somewhere when you get to take a break.
The cruel irony is you don't feel like traveling anywhere. That's your status.
Like, I just want to be home.
I will sit in my chair. I've become increasingly introverted, I think, over the years, that recharging time. But yes, there can be a lot of perks.
Yeah.
I mostly just get a lot of fuel and fire, and I know you do too, from like conferences.
Mhm.
Spend a lot of time speaking at conferences and like connecting with school psychologists and y'all my peeps. I love hanging out with you.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I always tell people like I have interns right now, and I'm like, "Are you gonna go to CASP?" I said just this morning, "Are you gonna go to CASP?" She's like, "No." I'm like, "Okay, oh my God, please, just like go to a conference, you know?" And it's so different doing something online than doing something in person. Like the connection is so amazing when you're there in person and you feel everybody's energy and excitement and learning. It's great.
Big old love fest. Y'all should go.
Yeah. Okay, so if somebody's district doesn't have the opportunity right now, but like people want their district to, what should they do? And if that's not the route they're going to go, but they want to access you themselves, what do they do?
It's a one-stop shop over at thrivingstudents.com. And it is on the top, at the recording of this podcast, if you go to the top, it'll say like for school psychologists, if you're a school psychologist. There's one for educators, one for parents. If you go to that, you can see what the Thriving School Psychologist, all the goodies that come with it. And then there's a button for like, buy it, come join the fun, join the party. There's also a button for talk to us, schedule a call, let us know about your district. I will hop on a call with you and your district leader and explain all the benefits. That's how a lot of districts came, is that I had one school psychologist who's like, I love this and I want it for my district. And we had a meeting about it. So if you're like, I don't know if my district, I don't know how to sell this to my district. Of course you don't. Like, you don't even know what it is, but it sounds cool. So you could click on it and schedule an appointment. You can schedule a demo. You want to like, peek behind the curtain, all the goodies.
Yeah.
Um, but really reach out through thrivingstudents.com, and we can tell you all about it, and we can talk to your district leader on your behalf. It's really easy. It's really easy to like find out, what it is and what it might look like in your district by connecting with us.
Okay. And people can click one click away, and they can do it individually as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Thriving School Psychologist is available for individual purchase and on a payment plan, or it's NASP approved for those of you who want to rack up all of your NASP approved credits in like one day, not one day, but in one go. At this, it's 10 NASP approved units, so like you can knock out your whole renewal in one go. So yes, it's available for anyone who's interested. It's also if you are interested in your district, and not just for your school psychs. That's the part that's really exciting. Is what if our teachers knew how to support kids with executive functioning? What if our teachers knew how to handle mental health challenges?
Right.
What if their PD gave them what they needed to stay excited and engaged? That's the scale I'm looking for. I can start with you, but school psychologists are like incredible influencers. We don't have the budget power at our schools for sure, but we got influence.
Yeah.
So we talk to everybody.
Yeah.
We talk to anyone on the IEP team. We talk to admin, we talk to parents, we talk to principals, we talk to teachers, we talk to MTSS coordinators. So school psychs are honestly like the linchpin in all of this. You want to get more resources for your school district, fold them into your MTSS processes. I got you.
Yeah. Okay. And we're recording this in September of 2024. But in October of 2024, What do you have coming for us, Rebecca?
Something very exciting. So, as some of you might have been forced to purchase in grad school, the School Psychologist Survival Guide, your internship year, a classic text. I have the Thriving School Psychologist, which is like the 2.0 of that. Presently on my website, the Thriving School Psychologist book is free. If anyone wants it, just free 99. Just go grab it. It's a PDF. I just want more and more school psychologists to know some of the shortcuts to expanding your role and reducing your stress and finding more beyond just testing. But drum roll, please. As a part of the expanded mission, I have a new book coming out called Small Habits Create Big Change. And it's strategies to avoid burnout and thrive in education career. It's kind of like, I don't know if you've read Atomic Habits.
Yeah, well, when you said the title, that's what came to my mind.
Oh, good job, PR team.
Yep.
Yeah. It's like Atomic Habits for educators.
Yeah.
What are the small neuroscience-backed micro habits you can do in the day to change the way you experience your day, even in stress? And it's full of stories of school psychologists, teachers, speech language pathologists who took these practices and put them into reality. There's also a strength-based lens that actually my friend Byron helped create, the Thrivogram.
Ooh.
It's like the Enneagram, only it's for like how educators thrive. There's 8 types. You can find out what your burnout trap is, how do you get out of it, and how can you use your strengths. So it's personalized. So for instance, I'm a pillar 1 achiever, which is the go-getter profile. I love crushing my to-do list. I love doing things. I love to write a to-do list and like crossing them off, right? I'm a doer. The first item is always make to-do lists. So
Yeah, I'm like, here's my to-do list.
okay, I see you. Now, burnout trap is that you just keep adding more and more to your to-do list without ever resting. So knowing that about yourself, what are the science-backed micro habits you can use in your day to not fall into that trap every single day? So this book is called Small Habits Create Big Change. You can check it out. I'm going to just double check my URL, thrivingstudents.com/small habits. This recording, it's available for pre-order. People who pre-order will get to come to my virtual book launch party. I will have an actual book launch party in a Bay Area location, TBD. I'm still working out locations. You better come. No pressure. No pressure.
I'm coming.
You're coming. That's a fact. And so anyway, you can go to thrivingstudents.com/small habits to find out all about that. But I'm thrilled because it's not just about school psychs. This is about book club at your school.
Yeah.
With all your teachers. It's a companion to one of our most popular courses. I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited. It's small science-backed adjustments you can make in your day, reclaim your mental health, reclaim your love of the job, expand your role. I'm thrilled that it's coming out. I can't believe it. I've been working on it for so long. It's like
so awesome.
It's finally coming. Yeah.
Is it gonna be available on your website and other places, or?
Yes, it will be available on Amazon. It actually is available on Amazon today.
Oh.
Barnes and Noble, and independent bookstores, and probably my publisher's website. Shout out to Wiley. But Amazon's the easiest way. You can order it right now. In fact, order now.
I just might.
Multitask there. I see your to-do list. Add to that.
I know. Rebecca's book. Got it.
Book club together.
Yeah. Yeah. I love this. Yeah. If you had to go back and tell yourself something at the beginning of your career, or as you were not even at the beginning of your career, but like as you were pregnant and under a table in a lockdown, if there was something that you could tell yourself then that you know now, about taking risks or stepping outside or listening to what you need, what would it be?
A great question. Oh, I have so many things.
You're not limited to one. I mean, I don't want to limit you.
I think the main one is you have more power to change things than you think. We get so trapped in like, well, this is the way it is. They're not going to hire more school psychologists, or this is my caseload, or it's always going to be this way. And I have seen from not just my experience, but from, upwards of 1,200 school psychologists going through the Thriving School Psych course, I've literally seen people stay in the same district and get a totally different career. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I love getting emails from school psychs saying I was going to quit. I was looking for other jobs, found your stuff. And I just want to let you know that just 10 months later, I'm school psychologist of the year for Missouri or wherever, or Atlanta.
Yeah.
We're collecting school psychologists of the year over here. They didn't change districts.
Right.
They changed their mindset. They changed what they believe was possible. They made small adjustments in the way that they went about their day. And so it is possible. Now, I'm not saying that it's possible for everyone in the particular district you're sitting in now, but I'm saying you owe it to yourself to give it a try.
Right.
And, it may be that you jump ship to be an LEP and you have a different flavor of challenge. It may be you jump ship to a different grade level. It could be you jump ship to, a different district, and you'll find one. You don't have to leave the profession, is my point.
Right.
I thought I had to leave the profession. And you never know what experiences are going to be extraordinarily beneficial for creating the career of your dreams. So just be open to possibility. And that's the advice I give myself. Be open to possibility. You can have clarity about where you want to go. You don't have to have certainty about how to get there. There's a ton of paths to creating the career of your dreams. And I don't know about you, if you when you were a little girl, you're like, I would love to have a podcast for LEPs. Like, no.
No.
But you had clarity maybe that you wanted to help people.
Yeah.
You wanted to be a helper. You wanted to be of service.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have certainty. You have clarity. And I had clarity in that moment that something had to change. I needed to do something different. I didn't know how, but just trust the universe, trust yourself that you will figure it out. Maybe not that day, but you'll figure it out. Just hold the vision and trust the process.
Yeah, I love that. Couldn't have said it better. I think we as school psychologists have just so much to give, and everybody is different, but we come from this place of passion and helping. And I feel like we're an inspired field. And when we start to lose that, there's something wrong. You got to make a change, right? And it doesn't mean you have to leave the field. It means that something's got to change. But we have the power to do that too. That's, I think, what you're saying. In little small chunks, which I'm going to read more in your book.
Thank you. And thanks for having me, and thanks for all you do. I love connecting and collaborating with cool people doing cool stuff.
Yeah, me too. I really appreciate you coming on today. And I look forward to reading your book and checking out all your cool stuff. Rebecca, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Empower LEP podcast. Episodes can be found at empowerlep.com. If you liked what you heard, please leave a 5-star rating and review on your favorite podcast player. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, or if you have any questions for me, don't hesitate to connect. I would love to learn more. I can be found at jana@empowerlep.com.